a really beautiful sunset right now. What if you can't see the path yet because you haven't started walking? I'm a planner, and for most of my life what I've done is think about what I wanted my future to look like 10 years from now, and then make decisions about my current life that I thought would get me closer to that goal. And that's pretty standard advice, actually. Think about the future that you want to have and then work backwards from there. And I think it has actually served me quite well in my life, but lately I've been wondering if it's also cost me something. I've always had a lot of anxiety around money and security. I grew up wanting to feel safe, and somewhere along the way I decided that money was how you got there. So I chose a career in a high-paying industry. I saved like crazy, I was really frugal, and I kept telling myself that once I had enough, I would finally feel okay. And those choices served me. They helped me build a really great career, they helped me build financial security, and I'm really grateful for that. But no matter how much I achieved or succeeded, that anxiety never really went away. And that made me realize something. That feeling of safety that I was chasing was never going to come from money. It was always going to come from somewhere inside. Here's a really small example of how this has played out in my life. I've always wanted to get my Pilates certification, but I've always managed to talk myself out of it because it didn't really make sense. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, and I don't actually think that the ROI of it would pay off unless I became a full-time teacher, which I have no idea if I would want to do because I've never taught Pilates before. So I always just talked myself out of it. And I kept doing this with so many things. If I couldn't see a clear path on the other side, I wouldn't start. But recently, my perspective on this has changed. Maybe I can't see the clear path because I don't know enough yet. Maybe the only way to find out what a Pilates certification would add to my life is to actually do it. The information I need is on the other side of starting, not on the other side of planning. Over the past year, I've been doing a lot of work on myself. Reading, journaling, going through various programs, and there's a few key themes that keep coming up over and over again. First, understand what you value. Not what you think you should value or what looks good from the outside, but what really matters to you. Second, notice the stories that you've been telling yourself. For me, that was always creative work can't pay well, or do the practical thing, or the safe choice is the right choice. And third, actually do the thing. Don't just plan, research, or think about it, but actually take action, because that's how you build momentum. That's how opportunities find you. When I ran the Pilates certification through that lens, what do I value? Does this align? It looked completely different than when I was calculating ROI. My values are creative expression, movement, learning, and community, and teaching Pilates lines up with all four of those things. I would be giving back to my community. I would be expressing myself creatively through how I design and teach classes. I would be moving my body, and I would be learning about anatomy, how the body works, how to prevent injury, and that really felt like a signal worth listening to. So right now, I'm just starting things without any kind of plan. I actually pulled the trigger and finally signed up for my mat Pilates certification, which I'm starting in about a month. I started this YouTube channel. I started writing on Substack. I created an Etsy shop. With none of these, I have a clear vision of what the future holds or what it might become, but I'm realizing that I just have to start in order to figure it out and to begin to see the path more clearly. So I have no idea how it all fits together, but I'm just chasing the things that interest me, learning one small step at a time and then moving towards whatever sparks interest next, just letting it unfold the way it wants to. I won't pretend this isn't scary. I still have a lot of anxiety and a lot of doubts, and not seeing where all of this is going is honestly deeply uncomfortable. I just wish I could have the clarity to see how this all fits into my life, into my future, but I don't. But here's what I'm starting to understand. The feeling of safety that I spent years trying to buy is never going to come from having the perfect plan. And I'm done waiting for clarity that can only come from doing. I don't know how this is all going to work out, but I am just trusting the process because I really believe that the path will only become visible once you start walking. If this resonates with you, I would love to know. Are you somebody who has to have a plan before you start, or do you just jump in? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you next week. Bye.